Hey everyone, welcome to Zack Attack Reviews. Today I'm going to be breaking down the good and the bad of Disney Plus's new Star Wars series, Obi-Wan. Just wrapped up the full season. The 6th episode just recently came out, and I'm going to be doing a non-spoiler review. No spoilers, just minor plot details from the first episode to just set up the premise. And in my head, going into the series, I was like, there's no way that this could be as much of a disaster as Boba Fett. There's no way. Obi-Wan is a cherished character. People love this character. Even casual fans love this character. There's no way they can do this wrong. Before I get into that, if you are a subscriber, hit that like button for me, and if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscriber button and the notification bell so you can be notified of my reviews, reactions, and ranking lists. Let's start with the premise. The show picks up 10 years after the Revenge of the Sith. We see Obi-Wan a little older, a little slower, secluded, and by himself, giving up the way of the Jedi, not strong with the Force anymore, but he is watching young Luke Skywalker from afar. He doesn't want to get into any altercations because all the Jedis are being hunted, but he is pulled into action when young Princess Leia is kidnapped, and he goes on a planet-hopping journey to retrieve her and bring her back to where she belongs. But this makes him get in cross paths with Darth Vader. Let's move on to the good. First things first, Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. His story arc here, while subtle and understated, was really well done as this hermit giving up on the Jedi way, like a pastor giving up on his religion and just staying out of everyone's way and trying to live his life and protect the one thing that he holds dear now, but slowly getting back into the Jedi way, building his power again, tapping into the Force was really interesting to see. And Ewan McGregor is a great actor, and over the course of the 6th episode we showed him getting back into it, and it culminated in a great final battle versus Darth Vader in the 6th episode, where he showed a very impressive show of strength and showed why he's one of, if not the best Jedis that the live action movies have produced. I really liked his performance here for the most part, especially in the most serious moments. Ewan McGregor is always great. And while the show of strength was impressive and I really enjoyed it and it got me hyped, one note I gotta say for storytellers that make these shows: stop it with the whole characters having to get out of peril by remembering memories of their loved ones. It's a dry, musty trope that Naruto dragged into the ground and other anime, and it's okay for them just to get out of things because they want to live for themselves. I'm tired of seeing people stuck in situations where, it shouldn't be too hard to get out, but they have to remember the bonds of friendship. It's just like, oh God. Even though I like Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan in this series and it's named after him, so he should be the best character, he is not. The show stealer here is Vivian Blair, who plays young Princess Leia. Wow, what a find that Star Wars, Disney, and LucasArts found in this girl. She's fantastic. She got a lot of hate for some reason, but I thought she was amazing at everything she did. She reminded me of a young Carrie Fisher. She reminded me of a young Leia Organa, and I really loved everything she was doing. Spunky, caring, passionate, and she held her own acting-wise with the adults. Her mannerisms, how she handled things, she made me really believe she was a young Carrie Fisher playing this character as a kid, as a 10-year-old, and I really enjoyed it. She was the best part of the show for me. Not only the best character, but made the show very watchable, and why I wanted to tune in every week just to see what shenanigans or what sassy things she was going to say next. And even though he's introduced halfway through the series, but Darth Vader / Anakin Skywalker intensity that he brought in each scene that he was in was great. There's a reason why he's a beloved villain, because there's such an aura and intensity that he has that almost no other character has. It's a special sauce that Darth Vader has, but it can be overdone, and we almost got that there in this show, but I think they cut it off at the right moments, and I really enjoyed every scene that he was in, he was just wrecking people left and right. And when the series was announced, they announced that Hayden Christensen was coming back, and people, kind of was like, whoa, okay, because a lot of people say in the prequels he was not a great actor, it wasn't a great Anakin. I still say it's the writing's fault, not his fault. But anyway, I think that they used him sparsely throughout the series, and he did a good job of bringing that character that we know and love, but just more modern and improved. I think his scenes where we got to see him as Vader, especially in episode 6, where he gets this really cool monologue in the midst of battle with Obi-Wan, I think he knocked it out of the park and drew me right into the show. And sometimes I got knocked out of it because of something else that was going on, but he did a really good job executing that, especially in episode 6. And lastly, parts of episode 5 and all of episode 6 were the biggest highlights for the show, which is funny because through episode 1 through 4, I think it was Layla, the character, who was really that held those episodes together and made me not be completely bored. But episode 5 and 6 focused more on the relationship between Vader and Obi-Wan and brought it to new heights. They had like an altercation in the beginning of the season, but it wasn't that satisfying. But it was everything that happened in episode 5 and 6 was very satisfying to me, at least. The flashbacks, the emotional drama that both characters going through, and then the final battle in episode 6 was done really good. It was really epic, and it was what this show needed. It's what these shows need. Not every episode, like even The Mandalorian sometimes doesn't have something of this scale that they did in episode 6. It wasn't astounding, but it was done really well. Now let's move on what I didn't like. Let me move on to the bad. So I thought episode 1 was okay. It was a solid beginning for this series, but episode 2 through 4 were abysmal. There were such inconsistencies, laughable moments, laughable dialogue, and such goofy things that they did in each season, and certain boring things. And I was just like, what? There's nothing interesting about the plot that you're going here. Where are we going? What are the motivations that I'm supposed to get attached to? Why are you introducing these random characters and they're not real characters? They're just kind of there and poorly written. If this wasn't Star Wars, I may have clicked off of it at that point until we got to like episode 5, where I was like, okay, this is what I'm talking about. This is the cinematicness that we need, that it should be comparable to the movies. And just some non-spoilery examples is there's a scene where there's a tunnel that they can escape from the enemy, and they clearly show that there's one way in and then there's one way out, and the heroes are going through it, and somehow the villain who was on the other side somehow teleports to the end of the tunnel, and they never explained how it happened, and it looked really stupid and really goofy. Multiple times our villains having the heroes dead to rights and just letting them get away with no real reason. I understand that this is a prequel, so a lot of these characters can't die. Layla can't die, obviously we see her grow up. Obi-Wan can't die because we see him in, the original trilogy. Darth Vader can't die, yada, yada, yada. But you can still find clever ways to write into the story why they didn't die. Not just, I'm gonna just let you go. It was just really lazy writing and really, really lazy visually as well. Especially when sometimes they will do something visually interesting and then just stop. And I was like, what are we doing? It was just confounding. And my last 2 examples is they had one of the most boring interrogation scenes I've ever seen in my life. It had such lack of intensity, no real great acting. The acting was so dead between them. They had no chemistry, and the direction was just really, really bad. I was really surprised because Deborah Chow was the person who was in control of the series in terms of directing, and she did a fantastic job in her episodes for The Mandalorian, and her even, I think the Boba Fett wasn't that great. Her episodes that she directed in that show were really good as well. So I was really, really confused how when she's directing this whole series, it was just such bad creative choices being made with camera work. And the most egregious of them all is a part where Obi-Wan is trying to escape with Layla in a certain scenario, and he's using this goofy Goonies-like technique to get her out, and I couldn't believe that they were doing this. It just didn't make any sense. It almost completely took me out of the season, the series in general, and it was just like right after that something else happened, and I was just like, what is going on? What is no one overlooking this and saying, is this gonna be interesting for the audience? I just didn't understand how this got passed through whoever's running LucasArts, Disney, and the Star Wars brand over there. Those are some of the gripes and the sloppy directing and writing that was like sprinkled throughout this season of Obi-Wan. But the biggest gripe that I have was the fact that they announced this stellar cast before the season. Actors that I know and I like and I've seen done good things and other stuff, and were completely useless, or just could have been squeezed into another character and they could have just did everything. One of them was Maya Erskine, who I'm a fan of. She's in a show called Pen 15 and she's fantastic in it, and here she doesn't do anything. She's very forgettable. She almost becomes, her character name is Sully, she almost becomes the silent Asian trope, where I can't even remember any memorable dialogue she said in any scene she was in, or any facial expression, or any action that she actually did. It was just really surprising, like, that they would cast her, make it like kind of a big deal about it, and then she did nothing. Kumail Nanjiani, I love everything I've seen him in. He's hilarious, but he also can do dramatic well, and he's one of those characters that I was just like, what is his purpose? I don't understand why he's here. I don't understand his character development. I don't understand how he gets from A, B to C, like where that gap is, what's his motivations, and it just didn't make any sense. It's like they had the opportunity to hire him because he's already within the Disney brand, because he's in Marvel. And they're like, let's get you in there, but we don't really have anything for you to do. And it was just a lot of that for people other than Obi-Wan, Vader, and Layla. It was just like, we don't really have anything for the rest of the supporting cast to do, but you guys are kind of famous and maybe your fans will watch it because you're in it. That's what it felt like. And also, lastly, is the character that almost felt like equal billing to Obi-Wan. It was as much as her character, her story, as much as Obi-Wan. And this actress, Moses Ingram, I love her. Everything else that I've seen her in, she does a fantastic job. She is a good actress, but her character, Reva, was just not good. Like, her character was very predictable. They try to hide what was, what her motivations or what she was trying to do, but you can see that from a mile away. It was telegraphed from episode 1. So it just, we didn't understand like why we were moving so slow with her progression, and then her plan was just nonsensical. Her motivations didn't make any sense. Well, her motivations made sense, but the way it was executed and displayed to the audience was just not well written, and her ultimate plan was just nonsensical. I think that the actress didn't get enough written in the script and enough directed by the director to do a stellar performance and have chemistry with the rest of the cast. Also, where was the Inquisitors for these last 2 episodes? They were just throughout the first 4. I thought they were going to be a big deal, and then they just disappeared and did nothing. Just drop your comments down below on how you feel about that. I couldn't believe it. Let's move on to my verdict. I think what the case with this show is a show that had a lot of elements that could have been really great and really interesting, had a lot of potential to be a fantastic show, has a lot of great actors playing these beloved characters, but being failed by a plot that was just not really that interesting or really that good. It felt like it was trying to be character driven, but it also felt like it was supposed to be plot driven at the same time, and they couldn't decide. And it was just like, we're just gonna do all this filler so we can get these really last 2 cool episodes in 5 and 6. But it still felt a little bit unsatisfying, because it's like, yeah, this was cool, but there was not a lot of emotional buildup within this series. Like, if you are a fan of things that happened in past Star Wars, and you have that nostalgia for it, obviously it works. But other than that, within the actual show, it doesn't work really well. With that said, I'm going to give this show a C-. Comment your thoughts down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? How did you feel about Obi-Wan? Like I said before, if you're a subscriber, hit that like button. And if you're not a subscriber, subscribe, like the video, hit the notification bell so you can be notified of more of my videos, reviews, rankings, and trailer reactions. And you can watch more of my content right now.